Let me take you to Rosario, Argentina, a city not just of chiming church bells and bustling markets, but of kitchens infused with the aroma of schnitzel alla Napolitana. Can you picture the scene? Celia Cuccittini, Lionel Messi's mother, stands over the stove, laughter in her voice, believing her special dish holds the secret to her son's magical feat. Now, you might be thinking, how could schnitzel possibly shape a football legend? But that's just it. Messi's journey started with the simplest gestures: a home-cooked meal, a grandmother's pride, the support of a family that built both his character and his confidence. Imagine young Leo, barely tall enough to reach the dining table, trading goals for chocolates and alfajors, sweet tooth, as famous as his footwork. Family matches in the backyard weren't just playful rivalries. They were proving grounds, where a boy's love for football was met with boundless encouragement. This tightly knit clan, anchored by Celia's wisdom and his late grandmother's fierce advocacy, turned every scraped knee, every rain-soaked kick in the park, into a thread in the tapestry of greatness. But here comes the conflict: fame's shadow. Celia confesses her protective instincts, worried about the pressures and injuries that stardom brings. Will he stay the same humble Leo? She wonders aloud. And you, listening, haven't you felt that tug? The fear that success might sweep away the person you love most? Resolution comes not through trophies, but through values. Celia's wish is simple: may Messi remain grounded, savoring family and happiness above all else. It's a lesson for us: your foundation is built long before the world ever sees your highlight reel. So next time you chase your ambitions, remember Messi's recipe: a pinch of humility, a dash of joy, and love at the core. Let me ask, who's in your corner, cheering you on? Because as Messi's story proves, champions aren't born, they're nurtured, one dinner table at a time. Have you ever considered how the place and moment of your birth can shape your destiny? Picture Garibaldi Hospital in Rosario, 1987. Bombs echo in the city. A military dictatorship in turmoil, yet deep inside the maternity ward, a new life begins: Lionel Messi, born to Celia and Jorge, their Italian heritage stitched into Argentina's fabric. His father's hands are rough from steel work, his mother's from the magnet factory. Here, in the middle of instability, a legend draws his first breath. No fancy cradles, no guarantees. Now you might wonder, does greatness only sprout from privilege? Messi's early life shatters that myth. He's a toddler with skin knees, already chasing a battered ball through alleyways, supported by a family, undaunted by hardship. But adversity doesn't end with economics. The city's unrest, the shadows of dictatorship, become the backdrop of his resilience. Here's the turning point. After a difficult birth, Leo's first test isn't on the pitch, but in simply surviving and thriving. His parents, Jorge and Celia, ground him in the everyday: discipline, humility, and a quiet pride in their roots. It's the original blueprint of Messi's mentality, a kind of emotional muscle memory. In the hospital's sterile light, a future Ballon d'Or winner is no more than a child of working-class hope. If you've ever doubted whether your beginnings can hold you back, let Messi's arrival in a world of chaos and courage remind you: your origins are not a limitation, but a launch pad. So next time you hear a bombastic commentator declare that stars are born in comfort, remember the little boy from Garibaldi, whose first heartbeat echoed through the turbulence of a nation, setting the tempo for a lifetime of perseverance. Imagine a sunburned afternoon, 1992. The Grandoli football ground in Rosario is more scrap heap than stadium, stray dogs tagging the sidelines. A team is one player short. Enter a boy so tiny, the coach hesitates until his grandmother insists, "Let Leo play." Skeptics snicker. After all, what could a child barely big enough for his shirt accomplish? Now, you might ask, isn't football a game for the strong, the tall? But young Messi's story is all contradiction. With the first touch, he weaves through defenders, the ball glued to his foot, what coaches call close control. But to him, it's simply joy. Severely undersized? Yes. Overpowered by bigger boys? Not a chance. His first coach, Senor Aparicio, recalls Leo scoring at will. Each goal, a statement. Size is just a number. Determination is the algorithm. Conflict brews, not just on the field, but in Messi's identity. Shy in class, struggling academically, he's overlooked by teachers but revered in playgrounds. School is challenge. Football is sanctuary. Family and neighbors rally around him, fueling the fire that overcomes the world's doubts. Resolution arrives in dribbles and goals. For every knockdown, he finds new agility. For every dismissive glance, a flash of brilliance. By embracing his vulnerability, Messi turns it into his greatest asset, the low center of gravity that will one day bamboozle defenders worldwide. So, next time you stand on your own version of a dusty pitch, doubt in your heart, remember, sometimes the smallest player makes the biggest impact. Will you let your uniqueness set you apart or hold you back? What would you do if your dream depended on daily injections? At 9, Messi's family faces an agonizing diagnosis: growth hormone deficiency, a rare endocrinological disorder. For most, it's a showstopper. But the Messis make it a chapter in their story, not the ending. They embrace a regimen of synthetic hormones, a process as rigorous as any training. Think of it as biological playmaking, recalibrating the body's potential, one injection at a time. Now, you might be wondering, isn't that controversial? The world of sports medicine swirls with misunderstanding. Growth hormone, when used illicitly, is an anabolic agent, a turbocharger for muscles. But for Leo, it's a lifeline, not a shortcut. Still, the whispers start. Is he just a product of science? Critics forget the daily courage it takes to persist with a needle, to wait through pain for the promise of normalcy. The conflict intensifies financial strain, bureaucracy, skepticism from clubs unwilling to invest. The Messi family's grit is tested as they exhaust local options, until Barcelona steps in, offering both a contract and the medical support that will change everything. Resolution? It's not just physical growth, but the development of character resilience, patience, the will to play on. Messi's story dismantles the myth that biology is destiny. Instead, it's the combination of science and spirit, medical intervention, and relentless hope. So I ask you, what obstacle in your life seems insurmountable? And what if, like Messi, the very thing that sets you apart could become the foundation of your greatness? Let's board a plane to September 2000, a journey that changed football forever. Picture a 13-year-old Messi arriving in Barcelona with his father, raw talent tucked in a suitcase, dreams clouded by doubt. The trial is a risk. New country, new culture, no guarantees. Will this tiny Argentine make it here? The coaches ask. The club's faith is so uncertain. The first contract is scribbled on a napkin, a symbol of both desperation and belief. Now, you might wonder, why take such a risk? Here's the technical bit Barcelona saw in Messi, what scouts call game intelligence and close control. In plain terms, he played as if wired to the ball, seeing angles others missed. Even amid bureaucratic headaches, work permits, youth eligibility rules, the club gambled, betting that a small boy could fill a giant void. The conflict? Messi faces isolation, culture shock, and injury setbacks. Family struggles, bureaucracy delays his formal debut, and the threat looms. What if we have to go home? These are more than the hurdles of immigration. They're stress tests for a young psyche. Resolution is found in a breakthrough, Messi's formal contract, the slow integration into Barca's youth ranks, and finally, his eligibility to play officially. The napkin becomes legend, a reminder that sometimes the biggest moves hinge on a moment's boldness. So think of the leaps you hesitated before making. Would you sign your dream away on a napkin? Sometimes, a scrap of paper is all you need to start rewriting your future. 16 de novembro de 2003, Estádio do Dragão, Porto. It's not just another friendly. For Messi, it's the crucible. At 16, he comes on as a substitute In the 74th minute, the stadium hums with anticipation. Will this kid freeze or fly? The technical terms swirl, positional intelligence, verticality. But to Messi, it's simple space, ball, opportunity. Audience, can you feel the tension? The team is down, the crowd is boisterous. But Messi's first touch is electric. He carves out space, threads passes, nearly snags a goal. Journalists scribble notes, is this the next Maradona or just another hopeful? The conflict is deeper than nerves. He's competing not just with the opposition, but the weight of expectations. Being an unknown, overcoming the glare of the big stage, that's the real test. His brief minutes on the field reveal a promise, not perfection, resolution. Within a season, Messi becomes not just a first-team regular, but a phenomenon. The debut is the setup, the conflict is the pressure, the resolution is the realization. Every legend starts with a single step into the unknown. Now, ask yourself when your number's called, will you be ready for your 74th minute? Sometimes, history only needs a handful of moments to announce your arrival. Here's a question. What really makes a football legend talent or trophies? The world loves comparisons. And for Messi, the shadow of Diego Maradona looms large. Remember April 2007, when Messi dribbled past half of Getafe to score a goal, so eerily reminiscent of Maradona's 1,986 masterpiece, that fans and pundits lost their collective minds? It's not just the aesthetics. Technically, both goals are showcases of acceleration and dribbling efficiency buzzwords for what every kid dreams of on the playground. Yet, here's the conflict. As Carlos Bilardo and others point out, dazzling the world doesn't mean you've conquered it. Without a World Cup, you're a star, not a legend. Messi's journey is now about more than highlights. It's about carrying Argentina's dreams, sometimes as burden, sometimes as blessing. Each international tournament, each missed trophy, the pressure escalates. Critics ask, can he ever be Maradona? Messi answers again and again by letting his feet do the talking. The resolution is ongoing. Messi's greatness is now measured not only by goals, but by resilience, leadership, and the ability to inspire hope in a nation hungry for glory. The debate rages, but his legacy grows with every match. So, for you listening, what's the moment you need to seize to prove your own potential? Like Messi, will you let the expectations shape you, or will you shape the expectations? Greatness is not in escaping comparison, it's in transcending it. Picture Johannesburg, July 2010. Argentina's World Cup dream is crushed by Germany. On the pitch, Lionel Messi stands alone, tears streaking his face, the weight of a nation pressing down. Why didn't he save us, like Maradona in '86? The world asks. But let's pause, because this is the story's heart. Even after scoring 47 goals in La Liga, Messi is left empty, inconsolable, blamed for what's beyond any one player's reach. It's easy to forget the technical demands. False nine, positional play, all the tactics swirling around him. But in that moment, it's about humanity, not strategy. Messi's bond with Maradona is tested coach and idol trying to lift him up, the media ready to tear him down. Conflict is everywhere. Sky-high expectations, public scrutiny, the ache of letting down your country. Messi's tears are not weakness, they're fuel. They show a player with pride, with a nation's hope stitched into his heart. Resolution doesn't come with that final whistle. It comes in choosing to return season after season to fight for redemption. Messi's story teaches us that greatness allows room for heartbreak, and that the courage to try again is the real mark of a champion. So, the next time you're knocked down and the world is watching, will you get back up? Messi did. And that's why, for so many, he's simply the best.